Hello, welcome and welcome back. This is Jacob and today we are going to be continuing the module short story narrations for the various operators in Arknights. Today with the second one for operator Ebenholz. For the first module short story and the module itself, you can refer to the link provided in the description of this very video or down in the pinned comment in the comment section below. But for now, let's proceed to our second module, its short story, and then check out what it upgrades for Ebenholz. The second module and its short story are titled Theory Expositor, and this is how it goes. An engineering operator, his beard slightly white, handed me my custom order set of casting equipment. Its appearance was exactly as I'd requested. A simple metal case, with not a hint of adornment, a wand with the surface polished to a mirror sheen, and a spherical energy reserve unit in a full silver color. Freshly produced, the originium circuitry gave off the smell of solvent. I picked up the wand from the case, and the reserve smoothly floated up with it, responding to the wand's movements, resting into a stable orbit in the air some 30 or 40 centimeters from my wand. I fired the reserve out, and the red circuit bullseye at the center of the alloy was dented inwards by it. Impeccable energy conversion efficiency. The engineering operators and my expressions were in total accord. We understood what a masterpiece this was. Some months later, I met him again, bringing my old wand with me and some originium dice in my pocket. "Old shoes do fit easier," he remarked. I could only shrug. "Still, I'd like to know why you went back to your old equipment," he said, his gaze sharp behind his goggles. "Even if it's just cosmetic reasons, no skin off my nose. Call it a little after-sales service courtesy of engineering." "Because of the noise." "Noise?" I simply pulled out my wand and gave it a perfunctory wave. The tip streaked through the air, but what came out was not the sound of slicing air, but music. "I did some research into your wand there when we got your request. The frequencies it vibrates against the air at are beyond common sense, I can tell you that. It's a real mystery, but it doesn't do anything to help casting. Doesn't hinder either though." "I understand, but this ties to my personal affairs." I ordered the wand precisely to distance myself from that bothersome music. It and the fantastical melody that once played at the Afterglow Hall are all but the same. For each day that I use the wand, that night I dream of that scene again and hear that melody. The new wand successfully quieted my dreams, but the scene still laid before me. The silent struggle all the more wretched. The silent death throes, all the more terrible. Only once I took up my old wand again did I understand. That nightmare would run its way through my entire life, had already done so, and to try and forget was mere futility. I couldn't flee it, and couldn't reconcile with it either. I was forced to concede that it was part of me, and that I would fight it for the rest of my days. As now well demonstrated, I was the one who ordered the wand and the one who gave up on it. Graf Urtica simply walked away from it all and left all the trouble and anger to others. But Ebenholz could not. Of course, Ebenholz could denounce those morons who thought themselves so lofty. However, faced with a craftsman who he'd offended, did he truly have the right to send them packing with but a few wild words? If it were him, what would he do? What would he want me to do? The answer couldn't be any clearer. With difficulty I cleared my throat, unsure if I would offend the craftsman once again with this. The story is a little long, but if you're willing to listen, I can explain in full detail. And that is our second story, this one taking place at Rhode Island, of course, and a bit around the time when he was on deployments and stuff like that. So essentially, first story was prior to Rhode Island, just to remind ourselves of. This one is, or rather, the first story was way prior to Rhode Island. This second one is during his time at Rhode Island, and as you'll see in the future, the third one will link up to a certain very recent addition to the stories in this game, aka Zwillingsturme, but that will be a story for another day. For now, let's see what the module does for Ebenholz, but before we do so, quick reminder of Ebenholz's basic traits and talents before we check out what the change will be. Traits. Attacks deal arts damage. When unable to find a target, attacks can be stored up and fired all at once, up to 3 charges. His first talent is Dynamics. Stored attacks deal 135% damage, can store 1 extra charge that is only used when attacking elite or boss enemies. His second talent is Appoggiatura. If there are no other enemies near the target, attacks deal an additional 15% attack as arts damage. Alright, and what do we get through our second module? Theory Expositor will give Ebenholz more max HP and more attack, which is nice of course. Then we gain an additional trait, which is attack speed plus 30 when there are stored attacks. As a quick reminder, yes, he will fire up any stored attack, but he can store up 1 extra charge, which is only meant for elite and or boss enemies. Which means that if he is hitting normal enemies, he will always have 1 charge at the ready, and this secondary trait, which gives him 30 attack speed, will be activated. Now, what else do we get through the module? His second talent, Appoggiatura, will be buffed. As a reminder, the second talent gives him extra damage against a single target, or rather, it gives an additional hit which is equal to 15% of Ebenholz's attack as arts damage to the target. On stage 2, this attack value will go up to 18%, but now we have a situation of either or. So, to read this fully, if there are no other enemies near the target, attacks deal an additional 18% attack as arts damage. So, this portion didn't change, it's the same, just a tiny bit stronger. But now we get this line. Otherwise, attacks deal 25% attack as arts damage to enemies near the target. So we have basically, if he's hitting a single target, he will deal additional damage like before to the target as an extra small hit, but if the target is surrounded by smaller enemies, the smaller enemies will be dealt additional damage, meaning that the 18%, as you can see here, will not go into effect, but the 25% to everything around the target will instead. Basically, he turns into a splash caster, if you want it that way. On stage 3, the hit to the single target will be at 20%, and the technically AoE will be 36% of his attack as arts damage to the enemies near the target. So yeah, module number 2 for Ebenholz turns him effectively into a splash caster. But he also deals more damage to a single target. Fully upgraded, this is an additional 5%, and for the smaller targets, well, it goes from 25 to 36%, which is a pretty nice amount of damage. And as a reminder, this does work in conjunction with stuff like his third skill. His third skill, for example, is something that will make him only hit elite or boss enemies while it's active. You can turn it on and off again when you want to. But if there is a boss enemy or an elite enemy that he is hitting, and there are smaller targets in the vicinity of that very same enemy that he is hitting, he will have increased attack speed through his skill already, he will have increased attack, and he will be obviously doing some splash damage around the target, which is obviously depending, or rather the damage of it will obviously be depending on how much attack value he has at that point. But yeah, effectively a splash caster through this module. Pretty neat addition, and makes him quite interesting and versatile. And as you guys will see in the third module, which will be the next one going up on the channel, he becomes quite interesting, to say the least. But yeah, also I have not upgraded the module yet, and you can see the full value of upgrades for stage 2 right here, or if you're going for stage 3. This is the full price for the full upgrade. But yeah, this is a pretty decent one. Compared to the first module, this is definitely a pretty decent one that does bring in extra versatility to Ebenholz, but also extra damage. But yeah, for now this will be it. And next time we are gonna be covering his final and third module, because the boy had to get a third one, and oh man, is that a module. But that will be for the next video. For now, thank you very much for listening. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like, it would help me out a lot. Consider subscribing if you're new to the channel for more stuff like that, or fully voice-acted and narrated stories. And if you want to support me and my work more directly, there are memberships on the channel, and no video will be ever behind a membership. It is literally there just to support me and my work. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye bye.